Hey everybody, today I'm going to give you some updates on the magicJack. I'm going to do a second review. Anyways, this is the magicJack device itself. It's a little USB device that plugs into your computer. You can buy it at Walmart, recommend Walmart, for like $39.88, something like that. It really depends on where you go. The reason why I say recommend Walmart is because they got it cheapest to where you can go in the store and pick it up. Anyways, you simply buy the device, you bring it home, plug it into your computer, and you can try it out for 30 minutes worth of talk time. Watch my first video review to actually see how the thing looks when you first plug it in. Anyways, you plug it into your machine, and you can make outgoing calls for 30 minutes worth of talk time before you have to register it. And I mean, this thing, it sounds crystal clear. When you have the proper setup, which I mean a good internet connection and a decent computer, it sounds very well. I've had this thing for 4 months, a little over 4 months now. I originally bought it for my parents for Christmas as a Christmas gift, but since unporting hasn't been introduced yet, they decided to say let me have it for myself and I'll just buy them one when porting becomes available. So anyways, I got to use it for myself as my own phone, and I have to say it works very well. I mean, every once in a while I may have a couple of little issues with it. One being the dial tone don't start right away. Sometimes when you pick up the phone, you may not hear a dial tone right away. You have to flash it to get a dial tone. Which, I mean, this usually isn't a problem. It usually just works immediately when you pick up the phone. But, I mean, it's worked very well for what it is. I mean, $20 a year for your phone service, or you can get 5 years for $70, which I don't really recommend going that route. I recommend just going the 1 year out of $19.95 because I have heard some issues about the 5 years. I don't really recommend that, but just go with the $20 a year. You can't beat it. In terms of phone numbers that you get with the magicJack, they may be a little bit different than typical phone numbers from like a plain old telephone service. For example, here in Huntersville, North Carolina, the area code is 704 and common prefixes are 875. For example, my parents' phone, which is with Time Warner Digital Phone, they did have AT&T or Bell South back in the day. But anyways, it starts out with 704-875, which is typical. But with magicJack and Vonage and a couple other VoIP phone services around here, you have different prefixes. For example, my phone number starts with 704-464. And another thing I want to hit on about the phone numbers you get with magicJack is they are unlisted. You can't have them listed. And I mean, it's a really good thing because that way you have a much lesser chance of telemarketers banging you with offers and that sort of stuff. I prefer to have my number unlisted, and it will never show up in the phone directory with this thing. And the biggest thing I want to hit on is I see a lot of reviews on the internet criticizing this poor thing. I mean, these people have not so good computers and their internet connection's not that fast, but yet they blame it on the magicJack when their service don't sound so well. For example, I see a lot of times reviews criticizing the magicJack of saying constantly dropping calls. I've seen some with shoddy sound quality, skipping into sound echoes, that sort of stuff. But, I mean, when you have it on a high-end machine, which I see those reviews too of people who have decent computers and decent internet connections, they love it. I mean, they love the thing. It works very well for them, including myself. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to do a test with the magicJack. I'm going to run it on the Cube Computer Mid-Tower Deluxe, which is my own system. It has a Phenom 2 quad-core 965 Black Edition CPU at 3.8 gig. I mean, it's a peppy computer. It's got 12 gigs of memory and Windows 7 64-bit. I mean, it's a nice, powerful machine. In terms of internet, we have Roadrunner High-Speed Online. The download is usually around 25 to 3 megabits per second, and the upload is about 1 megabit per second. And I'm going to be doing the lower-end computer test with my Acer Aspire 1 netbook, which is quite weak. It's only got a little Intel Atom processor and only has 1.5 gigs of memory and Windows 7 Home Premium. Just to show you guys the difference between a magicJack on a good computer and a magicJack on a crappy computer. Yes, I'm even calling my netbook crappy for once. Anyways, let's go ahead and do the test. Here's the Mid-Tower Deluxe, which is the machine I was just talking about. let's go and do the test with this machine. Here is the telephone I'll be using to receive the call. It's a brand new unit and cordless telephone. It has DECT 6.0. Brand new phone. It also has speakerphone as well. And here is the phone I'll be using to make the call. My Verizon cell phone. Gets good reception around here, so it should work just fine.
Okay, now I'm using the mid-tower deluxe to make this call, and as you might be able to hear, magicJack sounds like a typical telephone. I mean, it sounds, like Power Cable digital phone. It sounds like Vonage. It sounds like, AT&T. It sounds normal. I mean, you can't really tell if there's any static in there, but I mean, it sounds normal. I mean, there's no breaking out. There's no excessive static or anything in the line. So, I mean, you can't beat it for the price. $19.95 a year. Just be sure you buy it on a good computer. Now I'm going to show you guys an example of how magicJack sounds on a lower end computer, such as a netbook, or let's say a 2004 machine with a Pentium 4 or a Celeron with Windows XP. Just for an example. Here we go.
Okay, here's the netbook I'm going to be doing the test with. It's my Acer Aspire 1 netbook with a 1.6 gig Atom processor. Not to mention it took a long time just to start the software. This thing is so weak. And of course I'm going to be running a virus scan on this machine too, to give it a little bit of a load.
Okay, now I'm getting to the netbook, and you might be able to hear, for the most part it sounds okay, but when the processor maxes out at 100%, may hear a little bit of distortion talking on this side of the phone. So I'm going to just go ahead and say a series of words and just see if you can hear any sort of breakup or static in the sound. Hello? Hello? Audio. 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 Hello? magicJack test. Audio. Hello? Hello? magicJack test. Do you hear anything?
So anyways, you just got to hear the difference between a decent computer with a magicJack and a low-end computer with a magicJack, such as a netbook. This is why you will find mixed reviews on magicJack across the internet. Especially when you go to these complaint sites, you'll see a bunch of bad reviews saying the sound quality is horrible and everything, but they don't mention anything about the computer because, I mean, they don't know, they don't understand. Which, I mean, is typical. People don't realize that if you have a low-end machine, it's going to have a difficult time working right. So, if any of you guys out there have a magicJack and it's not sounding quite right for you, look at the specs on your computer and your internet connection. A decent upgrade to your machine can help improve the quality of magicJack's performance. Now I'm going to go ahead and explain the reason why this happens. When you have a low-end machine with the magicJack, it sounds bad, but if you have a good machine with the magicJack, it sounds really good. The thing about the magicJack is the current magicJack device, the little USB dongle, the hardware that's inside of that is comprised of two components. You have some flash memory that includes the software for the magicJack, and a flash memory to save your information such as your contacts, that sort of stuff. And you have the separate hardware that connects to your telephone. Basically, this hardware converts the digital sound from your computer to analog sound for your phone, or analog sound from your phone to digital sound from your computer. More or less, it encodes and decodes that information, that data. And it relies on a processor to do so. And it uses your computer's processor to do that. So when you have a machine that's not that powerful, that has a weak processor, and you're running other applications at the same time, when the CPU maxes out or gets near 100%, the performance of magicJack will, of course, deteriorate. But if you have a high-end machine with at least a dual-core processor, this shouldn't be much of a problem. Which, WiMAX is coming out with a new version of magicJack pretty soon. Hopefully they'll release it really soon. It's called magicJack Plus, which has its own processor, and it doesn't even have to connect to your computer. It has its own Wi-Fi card built in, and also an Ethernet controller built in, so you can hook it straight to your internet over Wi-Fi, Ethernet, WiMAX, and even 3G. I think I'm not exactly sure about the 3G, but anyways, it connects to internet and it no longer needs the computer to stay on all the time. Of course, it does have a USB dongle included with it, so you can hook it to a computer if you prefer so. Anyways, in terms of internet, in my previous video review of the magicJack, I said don't use DSL, but I need to revise that. I mean, because not all DSL connections are spotty. I mean, some DSL connections, when it comes up a thunderstorm, your connection more or less goes out, but in other cases your DSL will work just fine. So using DSL to magicJack is so-so. It really depends on how good the quality of your DSL connection is. But do not use magicJack on a satellite-based connection such as Windstream or HughesNet. Because of latency issues, the sound quality won't do so well. Use a cable internet or DSL. Or if you're near a Wi-Fi hotspot that uses DSL or cable internet, go for it. Anyways, that concludes the review of the magicJack, the updated review of the magicJack. Anyways, any questions or comments? Let me know. There's winds outside. Man, we're going to some bad storms tonight.